Coming to us out of the sky, the familiar voice of radio brings endless hours of entertainment, information, and cheer. But the entertaining hours of radio have not been with us always. But these first whispers of the voice of radio were not unheard as they were broadcast by Dr. Conrad. A surprising number of letters were received from unsuspected listeners, also pioneers, who had improvised primitive crystal sets. The world's first radio audience was in the making. Almost overnight, radio graduated from a hobby to a national institution. Receivers with tubes began to replace the homemade crystal sets. And when there weren't enough earphones to go around, Mother's mixing bowl came in handy as a loudspeaker. Yes, regular programs did create a widespread desire for radio sets. So much so, in fact, that manufacturers couldn't meet demand. People began to expect interesting programs on the air. Radio broadcasting became an industry which kept pace with the trend of the times. In the early days of broadcasting, few people realized what a fine art radio was to become, or what an influence it was destined to wield upon mankind.
Transmitimos este mensaje desde la estación radiotelefónica WBOS situada en Boston, centro de las difusiones internacionales.
Internacionalna radiocentrala, koja je jedna grana svjetske usluge.
The voice of radio, eliminating the barriers that for countless centuries have inhibited man's communication with man, only. To procure broader coverage, it is necessary to locate such stations at the highest possible location. To carry these new type programs for long distances and to approach the coverage now available through standard broadcasts, it is necessary to install many relay or booster stations also located at high locations. Such multiple relaying, however, presents distortion problems and losses. As a great contribution to the faithful reception of these services, Westinghouse engineers have developed a system for broadcasting frequency modulation and television called Stratovision. This provides for several large airborne broadcast stations flying at a height of 6 miles above the Earth. By this system, each plane would be equipped with several television and frequency modulation broadcasting transmitters, providing for greater and more faithful reproduction. A number of these Stratovision planes will bring the finest of television and FM programs to the vast majority of Americans. Your new home receiver, with its new developments and improvements, is your link with radio broadcasting. The finest in entertainment, news, and culture. The best. Oh, that's too easy. Now, how about those sinister footsteps we always hear when the radio villain comes to do his dastardly deed? Oh, that gives me the chills. Have you got a good storm up your sleeve to go with it? What a night for a murder. Better get the hero indoors. Well, get going. Now, how about a nice crackling fire in the fireplace? Wonder if that villain is still out on the stairs. We'd better call in some help. Well, we didn't need all those policemen. Oh, I get it. But suppose we'd rather have the Lone Ranger come galloping to the rescue. How would you get him on the job?
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
The microphone is simply an electrical ear, the ear of the broadcast listeners. It picks up sound waves and converts them into electrical current. The operation of the microphone is very similar to the telephone in your home. Any sound, such as music or a voice, pushes this metal ribbon back and forth, causing a corresponding back and forth movement in an electrical current. When I say 1, the ribbon moves back and forth. Watch again. 1. This action of the ribbon sends an electrical current along the wire that leads from the microphone. All the electrical currents from all the microphones are controlled and sent out to the transmitting stations. These currents form what we call the audio wave, a wave you can hear. The audio wave still looks like this after it has been changed into electrical current. We want to make this wave stronger, so we amplify it here in the studio control room and again in the master control room. Each time we amplify it, the wave looks a little bigger, like this. Now, this wave must travel over wires to the transmitting station hundreds and sometimes thousands of miles from the studio.
Rubinoff and the orchestra now offer for your entertainment a rhythmic arrangement of Spring, Beautiful Spring.
The radio wave is picked up by the aerial on your car and is carried into the radio set. This wave is still a combination of sound and carrier waves, and your radio set must separate them. This is done in a little device called a detector tube. You've seen one in your own radio. This detector cuts off the bottom part of the wave so that if we follow the top line of what's left, we have an audio current wave exactly like the one we made in the studio. Then the other tubes amplify this current, and as it reaches your loudspeaker, it moves the diaphragm back and forth and is translated into a very good likeness of the sounds you would hear in the studio. Listen.
You are invited to listen to this program at this same time next week, when we will again present Rubinoff and his violin.